And hello, happy Sunday morning. Let's do some vibe coding this morning. And today's topic is limitless. And if you have seen the movie Limitless, this is about how the main character is able to take a magic pill and suddenly become a productive genius that can do anything. So I'm no genius. I'm only occasionally productive, and I definitely can't do anything. But we're going to try to do some vibe coding and see the pretty crazy capabilities that these tools offer. So, sounds like we do have audio. So let's head over to channel 3 here. Oh, we are channel 3. There we go. Okay, sorry. Still learning this new studio. So, what are we talking about here? Obviously, the theme is embrace the vibes. This is vibe coding. This is not like you got to do everything right. This is not you have to prepare for days in advance. This is just an exercise to learn and explore and do some casual vibe coding. And this is inspired by the very smart person, Andre Karpathy. And he talks about vibe coding and he just talks to his computer. He has the dumbest things. He acts lazy. He doesn't want to have to look things up. He has it deal with error messages. He has it write the code. So let's give that a try. So what are we doing today? Well, when all of a sudden you realize all the possibilities that exist now because of these vibe coding tools, I start to make a list of things that I want to do. It's like my Christmas list, my shopping list, like all of the things that have been financially completely impractical. So, financially impractical projects are now minutes away, at least to prototype and to explore and design and figure out whether it's something I want to do, whether it's something I can do, and stuff that I just was on a wish list forever for literal years. Things that are clearly cost prohibitive. And these could be features like customer says, oh, I want this type of logging and notifications, and I want a preview over here, and I want to do this analysis over here. And when you start adding those line items up in a traditional development budget, it quickly becomes very expensive and they start having to cut those line items because if it's 4 hours here, 8 hours there, 16 hours there, pretty soon you've got 80, 100 plus hour budget for a small project. And then lastly, this is a big one that my developer and I have struggled with for years. We are so stressed when coming up with a design, statement of work, and a budget because we know that one bug, one mistake, one missed feature, one thing that wasn't explicitly called out in the statement of work, something we missed, or maybe something the customer missed, and they said, oh, we really need that. One thing can absolutely blow your budget. And so with this, with the AI tools, reasonable budgets can survive a bug, an unexpected feature request, or something that you didn't plan for, which before could cause, arguments, bad relations, billing arguments, all sorts of issues like that. So let's talk about that. So here's my list. For years, I've wanted to do something that I did in the Dynamics GP world, test data generator. It was my load test tool where I could import thousands of transactions of, general ledger, AP, AR, purchase orders, inventory transactions, you name it. So I could load test the import of that via API and GP, and then I could load test posting and see all the performance ramifications of import size, batch size, transactions. So, hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So, test data generator has literally been on my list for 5 years or more because that's something I used constantly in Dynamics GP. API import performance benchmark, very closely related to that. Posting performance benchmark, which I already explained. Bulk delete invoices and other records. And I want to explore page background tasks. just learn when can I use them, when can't I, what are the limitations, how well do they work. Complex report extensions. We had one of these that literally just destroyed our budget because it was really bizarre. If you're familiar with the 5,000 or 50,000 and 10,000, something like that, those reports, they use temp tables and bizarre indexes and just very unexpected things. We thought we knew what we were walking into. And as soon as my developer dug deeper, everything took longer than expected. It was not pleasant. Custom telemetry, not hard, but I want to play with it, add custom telemetry, see the telemetry flow, use Waldo's AL Telemetry Buddy in Visual Studio Code to explore the results. More AI, right? Documentation and user guides. Oh my gosh, right? No one likes to do them. Even if you put them as a line item and you have it in the budget, it's like, do I really have to do that? Now it's one sentence. BC dependency MCP server, all other MCP servers for that matter. I want a license management dashboard to help us manage our software subscriptions through AppSource. And BC Sentinel, if you're familiar with Stefan Marone's project for BC Sentinel, we want to have a full functionally focused version of that to meet all of the challenges our customers had. So it's just my laundry list, my wish list, and it's now all on the table. Everything is on the table. So some of these are big projects, some of these are medium projects, but one thing I realized last week is small projects are huge opportunities. And so one of our consultants was working on something, and I was like, wait, pause. Let's talk about that because this is a great opportunity. So today's journey is solving a small but very painful problem. If you've done this before, you know what I'm talking about. Data migration, import, and validation. If you have 15,000 records you're having to import, you got to prepare it. You got to set up your import, however you're doing that. Then you got to get it in the system. Then you got to review it. Then you see, oh, okay, these fields weren't mapped right. I need to fix that, redo that, and I'm going to retest. Well, how do you get rid of the 15,000 records you already have in the system? It is a major hassle. And it's one of these dumb little things that like we've just all tolerated. So let's tackle this and see what we can come up with. All vibe coding. So let's go over to channel 4 here. Okay. So I've got a Business Central sandbox and done all sorts of crazy testing. I tried to delete everything that I've been vibe coding to clean it up. Because at this point, I'm vibe coding so much, I have all these extensions and I don't even know which one does what because I'm playing around so much. So this is an interesting problem to have, right? So I've also got VS Code with GitHub Copilot, kind of plain Jane vanilla version. You could get the $10 a month subscription to GitHub Copilot for personal. Play around with this. So I have my ALGO project all ready to go. And so I called it, what did I call it? Speed delete, because I've done this a few times, had to come up with a new name. So speed delete it is. We are here for the speed. Now, what do we want to do? Let's just talk to Copilot and explore our options. And let me move this out of the way. So this is Sunday morning. I have a cold. My daughter has a cold and got my coffee, just had a piece of toast, and we're just vibe coding, right? I'm doing this every single day to practice. And so let's describe our scenario. I have imported thousands of unposted. I've learned you want to specify unposted versus posted. It knows they're different. It has no idea what the difference means. So I have imported thousands of unposted sales invoices. I would like to delete them in bulk. Please add a speed delete action to the unposted sales invoices list page that allows me to select multiple sales invoice rows and delete them with a single click. That's all I'm going to ask. I'm not going to get too technical and too picky about how it does it. Let's just see what it produces. Kind of scary, right? I have no idea what it's going to do. The term that has been used is non-deterministic. Maybe it'll produce an absolute masterpiece. Maybe it'll produce a 3-year-old crayon scrawl that's on the fridge. We have no idea. So it says, I'll help you. Let me examine. I can see this is an AL extension for BC. Got it. It's getting its bearings. I'll create a page extension for the sales invoice list, a code unit to handle the deletion logic. Perfect. I'm done that quick before I could even read this description. It extends a sales invoice page with a speed delete action, and a code unit contains the deletion logic. Now, if you glance at this, you can quibble with what it's doing. So there are no rules, there's no instructions, there's no agent.md, there's no copilot instructions MD. This is just pure, unadulterated vibe coding, feeling the vibes, right? You can clean all of this up easily. You can have it comply with your coding standards, your object naming standards. This is just an experiment to see where things go. So, a speed delete button in the processing actions of sales invoice list page. Select multiple sales invoice rows with multi-select confirmation dialog showing how many invoices will be deleted. How cool is that? I didn't even ask for that. Deletes all selected invoices with proper validation using delete true. I don't know, I'm just vibe coding. Success message showing how many invoices were deleted. It even gives me handy instructions on how to use it. Compile, open the page, select, and delete. Okay, let's see what happens. So let's click on the keep button, something I forget all the time. So click on keep there, keep my code changes, and let's do, oh, I think I need to fix something there. I deployed it to the wrong sandbox. I was setting up another testing sandbox and realized I didn't have some other stuff. Okay, so let's just redo that. Let me go back to my dev sandbox and let's just re-download symbols just in case it cares. Happy little accidents, right? Okay, so I think we got some symbols. And now let's try it again. Let's try Control F5. Sending request. Okay, there we go. So it opened to page 22. That's fine. Let's go back and let's look at our sales invoices list page. Now, these are my test fake invoices, lots of them that I import, and I'm like, I don't want these anymore. So I'm just going to do a shift click. I can click on the first row. You can also go in the middle, or depending on what you want, you say, hey, I want to filter to this value. You can do that as well. So let's give that a try, but you got to have them selected. That was the request I had. Now, where did it say this thing was? This is one of the common issues I have. In the ribbon. Where in the ribbon? Let's see if we can find it. Home. Oh, it put it under home. Okay, so now let's just do a quick test. Speed delete. You want to delete 5 selected sales invoices. And if you tried to do this before, you will know how tedious this is to do one by one. First encountered error will stop whole process. Error could be if you have partially posted invoice. What about skipping them silently? Show how many were skipped. So great question. This is what's cool about vibe coding is you just start exploring, and I'll do some of that in a second. What if you'd only like to delete recently imported? That's actually brilliant because that is the scenario that my consultant had. I think she had a scenario where there were some that existed, so she couldn't delete everything in the system, but she wanted to delete everything she imported recently. So that's actually a fantastic suggestion. Let's give that a try. So let's just test it. I want to delete 5. 5 deleted successfully. Awesome. Okay. Now, some might say that there's a reason that BC doesn't have this bulk delete feature. I don't know. I try not to coddle users, and I give them responsibility to understand what their job is and to not bulk delete random invoices. So for the safety conscious among us, let's say that we want to be a little more careful. Okay, so one of the things that I thought was, okay, let's add a little bit of safety around this. Let's say, can you please add a safeguard to ensure that the speed delete action, can only be used when environment type equals sandbox? Reasonable request, right? And it's going to say, great idea, Steve. I didn't even say great idea. It just said done. I've added a safeguard that checks if the environment is a sandbox before allowing the deletion. Excellent. Now, I'm not going to go test this, but I trust that it did that. And, we could potentially take a look at the code, see what it did, and say, okay, I'm assuming that is in the code unit. And let's make this. No, maybe it's in the page extension. Okay, so there it is. So in the page extension, it checks the environment information. It can only be used in sandbox environment. So environment info is sandbox. So we're just going to keep that. And if you want to implement that differently, you certainly can. That's how it chose. So I said, well, let me take it one more step further. I said, can you also prevent this extension from being installed in a production environment? If I can type. And this is one of the things I also want to explore. There are tools that allow you to do voice to text, so you don't even have to type, because as this thing gets faster and faster and does these things, I'm finding I am frustrated by my own typing speed, which in theory, if I don't make mistakes, I could be 70 to 90 words a minute, but just my little typos drive me nuts. And you can also just vibe code making mistakes, and it knows what you're talking about, right? So I want to prevent from being installed in a production environment, only allow installation if environment type equals sandbox. So there's my typo. So let's just add that belt and suspenders check. And there we go, creating. Done. I've added an install code unit, prevents the extension from being installed in production environments. Can only be installed in sandbox environments. Fantastic. Let's keep that. And let's try the suggestion that we received in the chat. So how about this? Can you add a default filter to the delete process that allows me to delete all sales, let's say unposted sales invoices that were created in the last 4 hours? Please add this as a new action called speed delete recent import. Let's say speed delete recent. Okay, so let's see what happens. Yeah, you can try to use Windows speech to text. Yeah, it's pretty rough. I tried Dragon, formerly called Dragon Naturally Speaking, now called Dragon something. There's a new one called Super Whisper that is AI-based. It's a service or subscription. And they were originally Mac OS only. They now have a beta version of Windows, and I think they have an iOS version. So I'm looking into trying that. There are some hardcore AI vibe coders who use Super Whisper, I believe it's called, for their coding. Okay, so it created this, and it's like, great. System created at field to identify invoices created in the last 4 hours. Speed delete recent. Awesome. Let's click on keep. Let's control F5. Let's do some deletion. Okay. The publishing is taking longer than the vibe coding. So it's interesting. The vibe coding is so fast, like I mentioned with my typing, you find yourself becoming impatient with other little delays like this. Like, I don't know what's going on. There it goes, finally. Okay, so now we're back here. Let's go back to my bookmark. I need to fix that. Okay, so now I've got these old test records. They should not have been imported in the last 4 hours, I guess. So let's take a look. So we have speed delete and speed delete recent. Look at that. That easy. You just make a request. You have the idea, the brilliant idea. Just have it automatically delete new records instead of having to manually select. I love it. It's genius. And so now let's try clicking it. It should give us 0 records. Look at that. No sales invoices found that were created in the last 4 hours. Okay, so now I have my test data generator that I vibe coded. So I'm going to click on this button to create new test invoices. Yes. And there is a bug in it, so it's going to create, I think, 200 invoices because I have some extra customers. And it's not the most clever in the world. So there we go. So 200 test invoices created. So now if we clear this, go back here. Let me just do a refresh just because things get a little weird sometimes. And so here now we have 270 invoices sitting here unposted. Now I'm too lazy to click a button, select, figure out which invoices are new. I'm going to just go to my home menu, speed delete recent. I think it should find 200 invoices. Look at that. Do you want to delete all unposted sales invoices created in the last 4 hours? Genius. Found 200 invoices. Let's go. Let's do it. Great idea. Thank you. My consultant will love you for that idea. So now she doesn't even have to select the records. Look at this. So in minutes, getting suggestions on the fly. Yeah, I could do F5 to refresh, but after installing extensions, sometimes you may know BC gets a little lost. Look at this. 200 sales invoices deleted successfully. I didn't touch the ones that are already sitting there. Absolutely amazing. My consultant is thrilled about this because she was just hating the process. As far as we know, and I've had this situation as well, the most efficient process that I found out of the box is open in Excel, edit in Excel, I guess. Edit in Excel, you got to pull it down, but then it's loading thousands and thousands of invoices in this Excel file. She's got to filter down to just the one she wants to delete. She's got to delete it, then she's got to resync the Excel file. It was driving her crazy. And we're trying to troubleshoot this weird error in configuration packages that when she imports, she's getting dialogues constantly about updating values in the lines and dimensions and things. It doesn't happen if she does 20, but when she does 1,500, 15,000, it goes absolutely haywire. So we don't know if it's a data issue, a configuration issue, probably a data issue is my guess, or something with the config package. But she's been trying this many times. So the number of times she's had to go through, edit in Excel, clear everything out. And when she saw this, she says, I want it absolutely right now. I'm going to come over and track you down. So look at that. So this is just a tiny little widget. Sure, you'll want to clean it up. You'll want to apply your naming conventions, your coding styles, your best practices, whatever that is. Get it into your DevOps or GitHub. But we just vibe coded that in minutes, right? And now this tool can help your consultants save hours. And you might say, well, what about our billable hours? I'm pretty sure that no one appreciates the time that might be billed deleting these records during testing. It's useless time. There's zero value to the consultant, to the customer, to anyone deleting imported records to prepare for a reimport. So great use case where some of the smallest little widgets can save massive amount of time. And we would have never bothered to do this because I would have had to pull my developer off of something, build this internal tool, and just not even worth it. So with that, back to channel 3. So we solved a small but very painful problem in just a few minutes. And on the fly, we're adding features. Oh, let me show you one other thing that I love. This is being silly, but please place the 2 actions under a folder. I don't know what the name is called danger zone. This is what I call my Kenny Loggins message. So let's see if I can do this. Now, one of the things I observed is that Copilot, Claude, Sonnet, whoever is responsible for this, is really not very good navigating the BC action bar menus folders. And I suspect part of that is because of the restructuring where the names of these things no longer match how they appear on the page. So promoted actions and the renaming of each of these menus has caused serious confusion with the AI, it seems. So let's see if it can pull off my Kenny Loggins request. So this is fascinating to watch. So now it's like, okay, consultant using this, and this will be for internal use only. Consultant say, okay, I got to go to danger zone. This shouldn't be in production. I need to be careful. All of those good things. Okay, so it says it made some changes to the page extension. Let's see if it was able to pull it off. We're in the red here, so there we go. We're looking good. No problems found. Perfect. Danger zone folder in the actions menu. And what's great is this group uses an error icon to emphasize the critical nature of these deletion operations. I love it. So let's keep it and let's control F5 it and check out our new Kenny Loggins menu. And when I mention that to the younger consultants, they have no idea what that means. So, yeah, sign of my age. Okay, so let's go back over to my sales invoices. I did an extension reinstall. Let me just refresh this bad boy, make sure everything is loaded up. What about, great question. What about making it a bit more generic? Pass any record to the code unit, add actions to sales, purchase invoices, orders. Exactly. Absolutely. This is totally where it's going, right? So I wouldn't release this one extension just for sales invoices because guess what? I've got the same problem with customers, right? I got to delete all these test customers. And this is just for my testing. And when I do my load testing utility where I import thousands of customers, vendors, items, transactions, yes, so that's going to require some re-architecting, some thinking, and we're just vibe coding. So I'm kind of going easy and exploring them one at a time. And so here we are back to sales invoices, but I'm totally with you. You're reading my mind. And so let's give it a try. Let's go to home, see? And so this is kind of the thing that I'm noticing. I'm here and I see this, but I'm not finding my Kenny Loggins. Okay, so let's just, this is a great example of vibe coding. Happy little accents. Let's channel Bob Ross and say, I am not seeing the danger zone folder in the actions menu. And let's give it a little more guidance. Let's go to actions. Say, can you please move the to speed delete actions to the actions danger zone menu. Let's see if it can pull this off. So it may fail at this. It took me several times just to get it to keep trying this over and over. Okay, so it's using promoted true. And I think the promoted and the changes in the action menu really causes confusion with the AI. So let's give it a try, see if this one works. And I'm vibe coding. I'm not going to read the code. I honestly couldn't really decipher or troubleshoot directly. I just don't have that much experience with AL. So let's go back home. Let's go to sales invoices, and there we go. So we see actions. Look at that. So it's a great example of where it goes haywire. So it goes to actions, new document, danger zone. So this is a very common behavior that I've seen now several times, and I don't quite know how to deal with it other than perhaps giving it suggestions with the actual name of the AL menu or area or group or whatever it's called, and not referring to it by its caption, because I think it is getting confused by the at least the US release. The caption does not match the underlined object name. So anyway, that's what I wanted to show, is having a danger zone folder. It puts the X there, and there we go. So very cool functionality, requires a little patience, and you got to give it some time. It's a junior dev. It's a little lost. It doesn't know what it's doing, but there you go. So with that impromptu feature, yeah, so this is a great way to save time with data import and validation, right? And so what do we learn? My lesson was really small widgets now are achievable, and those little tiny tools and utilities that you could use internally can have a huge impact. So things you're just frustrated with, wasting time with, manually deleting records, just say, okay, let's stop. Can we vibe code this? And, can we at least prototype it, give it to our developer to clean up and do properly? Or can we use a GitHub instructions file in order to make this easier? So, yeah. So the comment is, must be an action ref, need to be add less processing. Yes. And so the name of the menus behind the scenes in AL, the action menus, are different than the captions. And I think it's just completely guessing. It's not able to decipher that. It did it for me once, but it was already in a particular menu. I didn't move it. When I tell it to move to a different menu, it just goes off the rails. So as long as you have the patience to deal with this, a few minutes of vibe coding could potentially save hours elsewhere. Just absolutely wasted, useless waste of time. Totally explore the capabilities, right? The recent delete recent record suggestion, awesome. It just refines it so the user doesn't even have to select the records being deleted. And so now I am trying to do at least one of these every single day, just to see what weird behaviors I see, what can I do, what ideas come about. So really fun to just, get a blank canvas and practice. And yes, don't forget, we always need to check up on the vibe code. Otherwise, we're going to restore the environment to an earlier point of time. Hence my limitation on the sandbox for installation and running the action. Yes, and so far I haven't found any catastrophic code, but I'm doing generally simple things. My developer has found some really wacky implementations that he likes to clean up. But if the page uses action refs, your properties promoted won't work, pushing actions to the void. Interesting. So that is one of the challenges. When I'm vibe coding without knowing the technical implementation and technical details, this is the result. The agent doesn't know what it's doing. I don't know what I'm doing. And so we're the blind leading the blind, and I'm bumbling around. Eventually it gets it right. And what is fascinating is at least with GitHub Copilot, presumably cursing the others, take a screenshot. So if you take a screenshot of where the menu is in the wrong place, and then you can put an arrow to tell it the right place, you paste that in with your next comment, say, can you please fix this, put it here. It is remarkable that it reads that screenshot. It's like, oh, I see the problem, and it figures it out. So that's another trick I'm learning. You can paste a screenshot right into the agent chat. So super helpful tip. Okay, with that, hope that was fun. Go out and try some vibe coding and see what you can build without destroying everything. Do this in a sandbox, obviously. Okay, thanks for joining. Have a good one.